Who is chayiv to wear tzitzis? Sif Aleph. Avagav dechsiv ureisem oisoi. Sumo chayiv tzitzis. It says in the pasuk you have to see you see the tzitzis, right? Ureisem, so you see the tzitzis, and it reminds you of the mitzvahs. Even so, a summa, a blind person, even though he can't see it, he's still chayiv in the mitzvah of tzitzis. That is included from the pasuk Asher Tchasabo. Asher Tchasabo says the garment which you cover yourself with it. Those extra words Asher Tchasabo is including people who are being covered by the tzitzis. So we have an inclusion from the word.
Covered even though they can't see.
Right. So he's been covered by the tzitzis even though he can't see the tzitzis is included. So we have here a ribuy and a miyut. A ribuy, a posuk that's coming to include extra things in the mitzvah. And we have a posuk that's a miyut, that's excluding. The posuk that's including is the asher tchasabo. It's including the blind person because he's been covered by the tzitzis. And the posuk of the isam, so you have to see it, is coming to exclude ksus laila, a garment which is worn at night, which you can't see because it's dark. And therefore it's excluded from ksus laila. Okay. We don't really experience this nowadays, the not being able to see at night. We have all the electric lights, but it just last a week and a half ago, and we had the storm at night.
Right.
There was a power cut. There's no power coming up for 2 hours, and someone told me he was outside. He said he couldn't see a thing. There was no moon because it was a Chodesh. No moon, you couldn't see anything. We're not used to that nowadays.
Usually there's ambient light from a city, but it's not that much of a city.
Not if all the power's up.
There was no power. There's no power. The whole of KarmiEl was dark.
The whole of KarmiEl,
Yeah.
or the residential? All the streets were
Just for me.
I was told there was Rabbin as well, and a couple, maybe not every shchuna, but there were a few shchunot. Either way, where there was light, it wasn't enough to come to reach this area. Okay. Let's see the Mishnah Berurah. The Mishnah Berurah said Katan Aleph. Uposhet Yochel Levorach Gam Ken Alein. It's obvious that the blind person can also make a bracha. It's completely chayv in tzitzis mid'oraisa, so he can also make a bracha on the tzitzis. Achshiv de goes on mitchila b'mishmesh yodov. You should check it either by feeling or request someone else to check it. Sivkotten beis ksus laila. Vasvor no yisenes the rabbis ksus suma ulumait ksus laila. V'shem de ksus suma yeshno al kapon b'ri'ah etzel acherim. We have here this posuk or isamosa, which is coming to exclude something. It's either excluding a blind person, a summa, or it's coming to exclude a ksus laila, a garment at night. So the Mishnah says it's more logical to exclude the night garment rather than the blind person, because the blind person, he can't see his tzitzis, but other people can see his tzitzis. Therefore it's less appropriate to exclude it from Isa Moshe. If we have a choice to exclude one of them, we'll rather include a ksus laila, which can't be seen by anyone, rather than the garment of a blind person, which other people can see and he can't see. Okay, let's see now Seif base. Back to the top, to Shulchan Aruch, second line Seif base. Noshim va'avodim p'turim mipnei shemitzvos asay shazman groma. Women and avodim, which we don't have nowadays because it's by international law, it's illegal. Won't have an Eved nowadays. Talking about an Eved, a non-Jewish Eved, right? A non-Jewish Eved who accepts upon himself to tovel him, and he becomes chayv in mitzvahs like a woman. So they are potter from tzitzis. Why? It's a time-bound positive commandment. Any positive commandment which is bound by time, women are excluded from. Hagor says the Umar, if however they wish to put it on and make a bracha, they can. Like any other time-bound positive mitzvah. But it looks like gaiva, like arrogance. And therefore they shouldn't put on tzitzis, seeing as it's not a chuyvas gavra, it's not a chiyuv to put on tzitzis. Right, we're going to explain a little bit more. We're going to explain when we see the Mishnah Berurah. Pirush eino chayv liknos lo talis tzitzis chayv b'tzitzis. A person is not chayiv to buy a garment to put on tzitzis. So even a man is not chayiv to buy a garment to put on tzitzis. If he has a garment, he has to put tzitzis on the garment. If he's not chayiv, he doesn't have to go and buy himself a garment. Midiraisa. So therefore, women who are potter completely, they don't put on tzitzis. Whereas lulav and other time-bound positive mitzvahs, which a man is chayiv to do, even though women are not chayiv, however, for these mitzvahs they do try and do. Right? That's the difference between lulav and shofar on the one hand and tzitzis on the other.
It seems to me the argument, there are many arguments about this topic, but the argument that women shouldn't do it because it would seem arrogant would indicate that nobody should ever do a chumrah.
This is a problem, yes. If one learns Mesilas Yesharim, when he talks about doing chumras, this is a big issue he brings up. The big issue he brings up. If one does a chumrah and what it does is it boosts one's self-ego,
right,
then one's actually doing more damage than good.
Right.
Of course, yeah.
So that argues against...
One should definitely try and do chumras in a way that it's not sticking out. People aren't noticing it, and it's not showing out.
Well, actually, Mesilas Yesharim argues that it's not about other people seeing it, that it's about something internal.
Of course, that's what we're saying. That's why if one does it in a way that is very noticeable, then it's
no, noticeable implies it's noticeable by somebody or something else than yourself.
Right.
The Mesilas Yesharim says the very act of doing a chumrah has a negative impact on a person because you feel very special about having done it. It has nothing to do with if there's nobody else on the planet.
That's
it's still a problem.
Yeah, that's still yes.
Right.
Yes, that's an additional problem. Yeah.
So that argues against doing chumras.
Well, one has to weigh up. One doesn't just start doing chumras. One has to weigh it up, and the Mesilas Yesharim says to do a mishkal hachasidus. And one has to weigh it up before taking on any chumrah. One has to weigh up all the outcomes of taking on this chumrah, outcomes on other people, on himself, on his midas, on his characters, and everything, and work out if it's really worthwhile doing it or not, because it could have negative impacts. And one of the important negative impacts is one we're discussing now, which if it makes one feel that one is very then that's the problem. Then he might be doing a chumrah in a certain mitzvah, but in terms of his midah of gaiva, arrogance, he's just given it a big boost.
Correct.
So maybe it'd be better if he wouldn't do the chumrah and rather work on learning the arrogance. So that's the Mesilas Yesharim, the mishkal hachasidus Mesilas Yesharim. Before taking on any chumrah, he has to weigh up all the impacts on other people and on himself. Yeah.
Right. It seems the summary, the moral of the story is don't take on chumras. It's take on chumras carefully.
Correct.
Does that include women?
Excellent summary.
Yeah. You should take on chumras if it's going to help you grow spiritually, but only if you do it with care. Yeah,
100%. I'm not coming to say
that's why
one should do chumras.
The message is
of course, one should try, but one has to weigh them up and make sure that any chumrah one takes on is not having a negative impact in any way. And weigh out which chumras are correct for him to take on. Right. Maybe he should be taking on a chumrah in his character traits first. Maybe he should first start on taking a chumrah in terms of working on his arrogance, in terms of working on his generosity. Chumras are not just in mitzvahs bin Adam Lamokum. Chumras are in every mitzvah, including bin Adam Lamokum.
No, I was just curious because specifically gave that as the reason why women should not put on tzitzit.
Right. So here the first thing
you could argue that's the reason for men not to put on tzitzit as well. in fact.
No, but if all men wear tzitzis, it doesn't look like arrogance to put on tzitzis. Here we're talking about something which people don't do, and then someone does it publicly, and it's a problem. It's mechzikiro. It looks like he's showing off, and that's the problem here.
Okay, but I mean, there was some point where people didn't do it, made a decision not to do it, right?
Right.
What I'm saying is that there is a statement here that there's actually a great deal of emphasis that you should, even if you don't have a four-cornered garment, people go and buy a four-cornered garment, in spite of what it says here, right? Most observant men go to a store and buy a four-cornered garment with tzitzit on it, right? But there's not a requirement to do that. It's only a requirement that if you have it, to put the strings on it, correct?
Strictly speaking, the Gemara says no. The Gemara says that one should wear on tzitzis the whole time. That because it's such an easy mitzvah to do, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu punishes be'idin rischa. At a time of anger, Hashem punishes for not taking on such an easy mitzvah. As a result of that, all men wear tzitzis at all times.
Why don't all people wear tzitzit all the time? That's my point here.
Why don't
all people?
Because women are not included in the mitzvah at all. For women, it is complete. There's no chiyuv at all to wear tzitzis. Even if they have a garment with four corners, they don't have to put tzitzis on. It's a mitzvah that they're potter for. For men, it's a mitzvah that they're chayivin. For women, it's a mitzvah that they're potter for. It's just that women, even mitzvahs that we're not potter for.
How is it a time-bound mitzvah? Just out of curiosity.
Because at night there's potter. We're going to learn. That's the next thing we're going to learn about nighttime.
But you're not even required to wear it during the day unless you have the four-cornered garment.
Correct. But if one wears a full-cornered garment at night, even if one puts on a full-cornered garment at night, one doesn't put tzitzit on it. One can wear a full-cornered garment at night. We're going to talk about the exact details of exactly what that means, but a full-cornered garment at night doesn't need tzitzis. Therefore, it's time-bound.
I don't want to take any more time right now.
Okay, well, we're going to see more details now. We haven't seen the Mishabura yet, and we haven't seen the next thing. We're still going to talk more about. So we're not finished. We're just at the beginning of this.
I mean, it's time-bound not to wear it at a certain time, is what we're saying.
Correct. So sometimes one is chayiv, that's called, and sometimes one isn't. That's called time bound. The times when there's a chiyuv, and there's times when there isn't a chiyuv.
Right. So all day there's a chiyuv.
Correct. Yeah. Okay. Let's have a look. Let's see some Mishabura.
Well, there was another piece going forward.
Oh, we haven't finished the Shulchan Aruch. Okay. Tumtum, the kind on the Shulchan. Oh no, we haven't finished the words of the Ramah even.
Right.
Ulukamon b'simin yutes Omar ksheishu talis ma'arba kanfes. Okay, yeah, we'll see that. That's continuing from this concept of choivas gavra, that one only has to put on tzitzis if he has a garment with four corners. We'll see that when we get to Simin Yutes. Tumtum v'androgen is chayovin mesofik v'isat v'blei bracha. Tumtum and androgen. Tumtum is someone who's is the male or female organs have been covered up with skin, so we can't see if it's male or female. And androgynous has both organs, so they are halachically considered the sofik. Chayovin mesofik v'isat v'blei bracha. Seeing they're sofik, the sofik man, sofik woman, and therefore they put on a talis without a bracha. Right, nowadays, it's not so relevant. There are halachas to do with androgynous nowadays. One has to know, but generally these things they do operations on them when they're babies, and that solves the problem to some extent. It does cause other problems, which is not for now. The more than extends. Tumtum lo nudaim was off on the cave. Tumtum we don't know if it's male or female. It's just it's covered up. Androgynous issue is zachos and because he has both organs. Hagor says the Ramah, but if you mash no agu noshim levorch b'mitzvah sasei shazman gomo, gam him yivorchu. So So, because women can, even time-bound mitzvahs, when a woman does it, she makes a bracha. So therefore, Tumtum Vanjoigenus, that the Shulchan Aruch said that they should put it on without a bracha, because they're a Sophic man, Sophic woman. But that's the Shulchan Aruch's opinion. Shulchan Aruch holds that when a woman does a time-bound mitzvah, she doesn't make a bracha. And that's what Sfaradim do, like the Shulchan Aruch. And so Ashkenazim go like the Ramah, that if a woman does a time-bound mitzvah, decides she wants to do it, she can make a bracha on it. So to here, the Tumtum and Androgenous, they can make a bracha on their talis according to the Ramah, right? Because whether they're a man or woman, they can make a bracha. Okay, so according to Shulchan Aruch, they don't, because women don't, and according to the Ramah, they do, because women can. Okay, let's see the Mishnah Berurah. Tzit Kotum Gimel. Shazman Groma. It's a time-bound mitzvah. Nighttime is not the time of doing the mitzvah. Any mitzvah sasei shazman groma, women are potter even midrabanon. The huksha kol haTorah l'tefillin, because the Torah is compared to tefillin is dechsiv behu leman tihi haTorah Hashem beficha. The tefillin, but tefillin says the reason why we wear tefillin is so that the Torah of Hashem should be at the edge of our tongue, in our mouth. So Torah Hashem, the tefillin is compared to Torah Hashem. Kumod b'Torah mit tefillin, de'iskish leTalmud Torah, dechsiv bo v'shinam t'mon v'nacha v'lo yivnei secha, came b'Torah mikol mitzvahs asay shazman groma. There's a chain reaction. It's a Gemara in Kedushin Daf Lamed Daled that women are potter from Talmud Torah because it says v'shinantom levonecha, you teach your sons and not your daughters. Therefore, women are potter from Talmud Torah, right? And they should learn the halachas that are relevant for them. Then the mitzvahs that are chayv, and they should learn the halachas so they know what to do. But they are potter from the mitzvah Talmud Torah. Now, in Kriyas Shema, the pasuk of Talmud Torah is put next to the mitzvah of tefillin. A hekesh is one of the ways that we dash in the Torah. When things are put next to each other, we learn halachas from one to the other. And therefore, we learn that just like they are potter from Talmud Torah, they also potter from tefillin. By tefillin, it says that tefillin, we put on tefillin, leman tihi Torah Hashem beficha. So this is it's also a hekesh, that the words Torah Hashem are put next to tefillin. So we learn that any mitzvahs that are similar to tefillin, women are potter from. And therefore we learn that any mitzvah which is similar to tefillin in the way that it is time-bound, women are potter from.
This is the source of the women are potter from the Zman Groma?
Yes. And so therefore women are potter from any mitzvah that says Zman Groma. However, we mentioned that they can do it if they want, and there's a machlokas Shulchan Aruch Ramah in whether they make a bracha on mitzvah that says Zman Groma or not. In this particular case of tzitzis, as we saw, and we're going to see now, we're going to explain now, the Ramah says not to do it. As we're going to explain now. Let's see the next Mishnah Berurah. It's in Kotam Daled. He carries on. We didn't finish the last line. We learn with the Gzeira Shova that avodim are chayiv in mitzvahs the same way that women are chayiv in mitzvahs. And parasha it has a similar word in both parashas law. Because it has a similar word, that's a Gzeira Shova. We learn across from one to the other that avodim are only chayiv in mitzvahs that a woman is chayiv in. So it's called Daled, even someone who is not commanded to do a mitzvah, and even so he goes ahead and does the mitzvah, he gets schar. Now, the Mishnah has a question: how can she say the word vitzivonu? Commanded us as a mitzvah in his commandments, vitzivonu, and commanded us. If he's not commanded, he didn't command us. If it's optional, how can she say the word vitzivonu, commanded us? So the answer is because men are commanded. Us is the more general us. So therefore they can even make the bracha and even say the words vitzivonu, commanded us, even though they're not commanded in it. Okay, we'll stop here and we'll continue with this tomorrow. Still in the middle. There's more to say about it.
Great. I didn't want to get into the